Now we will look at the differences in Freudian and psycholinguistics explanation of speech errors. The psycholinguistics approach or views regarding speech errors are that they assume that the mechanism or the mechanics of slips can be studied linguistically without reference to their motivation. So they are more concerned with these stages through which these speech errors occur, whereas Freudian approach is that speech error arise from the concerned action, or perhaps rather the opposing action of two different intention. Now, this particular approach believes that errors occur when we have more than a single plan for production, and that plan competes or dominates others. Errors, according to Freudian approach, reflect the intrusion from a repressed thought. Slip results in a word of emotional significance, whereas the psycholinguistics believe that speech error occur through series of stages, each devoted to a single level of processing, which means that error occurring at one level but not the other in normal use or in the production of speech. Now, in the psycholinguistics approach or in their view, errors reflect planning or implementation errors in a normal use of language. Let's discuss little more these two views. Now, looking at the Freudian explanation first, we will see that they have this idea that speakers have more than one idea in mind at a time. Now, the example that you see, number 6, which says, I don't want to run the risk of ruining what is a lovely recession, instead of saying reception. Now, this is the quotation, or you can say the quote from a speech during 1992 campaign. President George Bush began his remarks for one speech by saying this. Now, this is, of course, could be construed or understood as simply a sound error, as the two words are similar phonologically. But it could also be evidence that the president was preoccupied with recession and its effect on his campaign. So, when we are making this kind of error, that is, our mind is preoccupied with more than one thoughts, and the one which is more dominating results into the utterance of the speech. Then another one which says, last night my grandmother lied instead of died. Now, this could be understood as the slip resulting in a word of emotional significance, that is, died instead of lied. So, this is another one, and this could be an innocent phonological error, but then again, the slip could reveal that a person was thinking more about the emotional aspect of the thought. Freudian emphasized the role of psychodynamic factors in making certain types of content more available than others. Now, he says that errors, they are actually arising from concurrent action, or perhaps rather the mutual opposing action of two different intentions. Now, Freud's position was that virtually all speech errors were caused by the intrusion of the repressed thoughts. Although the Freudian interpretation may be appealing in cases in which the slip of tongue results in a word with emotional significance, many slips seem to reflect simpler processes such as anticipation and preservation of phonetic segments. Looking at the psycholinguistics explanation, we see that linguistic units such as phonetic features, phonemes, and morphemes constitute planning units during the production of an utterance. In this respect, errors of linguistic performance occupy a role in psycholinguistic theories. Now, number of researchers have been done, and these, especially Fromkins, postulated by linguistic theories, lending support to the notion, which is linguistic units such as phonetic phenomena or features are basically occurring or constituting planning units during the production of utterance. Now, similarly, Garrett, another researcher, has used error data to argue for the existence of an autonomous syntactic processor. One view of language production is that we produce utterances by series of levels or stages, each level being responsible for its own linguistic or own individual separate processing. These are the two different approaches and views that we have seen in the area of or in the studies of speech errors, one coming from Freudian approach and the other coming from psycholinguistics approach. Various hypotheses concerning the basis for speech errors have been proposed. Although a Freudian type of explanation may apply to some speech errors, more recent thinking has focused on the psycholinguistic processes underlying speech errors.